What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well today. And we got to take this video to talk a little bit about our next opponent here in Seattle, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Got to talk about this Bucs team, which we play next week. Don't know for sure what day it's going to be, I guess. And by the way, if you guys aren't following that situation, definitely start paying attention to it because there is some possibility of some future Seahawks games getting moved because of the Mariners. But we'll talk about that when it's a little bit more official. But I want to talk about these Buccaneers because they are going through it at the moment, and they are 3-1. So are the Seahawks. I definitely feel better about my 3-1 than the Bucs probably feel about their 3-1, given all of their roster issues, which I'm going to talk about in this video. First, though, let me take 60 seconds to tell you guys about Sleeper. Before I go any further into this, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. Have you heard about the Sleeper app? It is the best way to experience and connect over sports together with other users. It's a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. Go download the app now. You can celebrate and chat on games in real time with others. You can get the fastest scores, news, and alerts, all that right at your fingertips. And of course, you can play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So you can enjoy sports the way they were meant to be, together. Download the #1 sports app today. And when you go, use promo code SBN, that is SBN, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. So check out Sleeper today. Don't forget promo code SBN. All right, welcome back. Also, real quick, before we get into the main body of this video, want to let people know that this week, the B&B show, or Talking Seahawks with the Hawks Nest, whatever you prefer to call it, has been moved. Usually we do it on Thursday. This week we're doing it Tuesday, so tomorrow. And I know that's kind of short notice. I did post the stream placeholder up earlier today, and it is indeed marked for tomorrow at noon. We've had to move things around a little bit, but yeah, try to be there. And if you can't be there, watch the VOD. You guys know how we do things by now. I think you guys know what it's all about. But for this week, we've had to move things again. Should be back to Thursday by next week. But for this 1 week, we got to go very early, which does give us a little bit less information to work with, but so be it. All right. So that's the that's kind of the pre-video discussion. Now let's get into the meat of this video, which is Tampa Bay and what they are going through on the injury front. So the Buccaneers are an absolute mash unit right now, and it got worse on Sunday against Philadelphia. Not only did the Buccaneers lose that game, they also lost some players potentially. Let's go through the damage here. To start with, let's talk about some of the damage coming out of that Philadelphia game. There have been, as this Twitter account or X account points out here, Todd Bowles, excuse me, I don't know why I say that. It's funny, but it's also not his name. That sounds like I'm trying to insult him or something. I'm not. But Todd Bowles says they're still processing all of the injuries, and quite a few players are getting MRIs. He couldn't even remember the name of all of the players getting MRIs because they've got so much going on. Bucky Irving, however, is one of the players getting an MRI. So that's very interesting, right? Because Bucky Irving, we saw him get hurt in that Philadelphia game, but he went back in the game and actually did things after. I think he scored a long touchdown after he got hurt. So it is kind of interesting that whatever it was apparently serious enough to where his availability is in some doubt for this week. But he was able to go back out there. Now, there's adrenaline. There's definitely the whole idea of you don't really notice how injured you are until you stop moving. But it would be a little bit surprising to me if he doesn't play, but it is worth noting that he is getting an MRI, and who knows what they're going to find. So that's a big one. That's a big part of their offense, especially right now. Jamel Dean, who is one of their cornerbacks, actually, I believe one of their starting cornerbacks, and Benjamin Morrison, who would be a starter in the absence of Jamel Dean. They're both undergoing MRIs today. So that's a big bite out of that secondary. That's a big part of what makes that defense as capable as it is. So that's a big deal. That would be a big loss. And we also got this on Hassan Reddick. He had a neck stinger in that game. He feels optimistic that he's going to be able to play in this game against the Seahawks, but there's no guarantee of it. And that's another big loss as well. Hassan Reddick, not an elite edge rusher, but a very good edge rusher and an important part of what that Tampa Bay team does ultimately. So that's a lot of damage coming out of that game. And this is just the big stuff, right? There's probably little stuff as well. There's probably a couple other players that are going to be getting MRIs. As Todd Bowles said, he can't even name them all, so he probably forgot a few. So as we move to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, those injury reports are going to be very, very interesting because it seems like they're going to be down some key pieces. And remember what Tampa Bay is already missing. Remember what they're already down. You have Mike Evans. We know for a fact he's going to miss this game. Mike Evans is out. So there's your big one. And they are just getting a couple of key pieces back. Like Chris Godwin played for the first time in a while on Sunday, and Tristan Wirfs returned. So it's not a complete disaster anymore on that offense. But it is worth noting those guys are probably at not 100%. And with Evans out, Godwin at 100% is kind of a big deal. I know Igbuka is doing really well, but he's still a rookie. You don't want to turn him into a number one wide receiver this early in his career. And of course, Jalen McMillan, he's, I believe, out for the season. And normally that wouldn't be that big of a deal, but in this circumstance, it might be something of a big deal because with no Mike Evans, McMillan might be asked to do a little bit more. And of course, we already know Luke Godecki is on IR, so is Cody Mock. Those are your starting tackle. That's your starting tackle and guard on the right side of the line. So they're already, that's the strength of their team, that offensive line. And they had maybe the best offensive line in football last year. I thought they had the best offensive line in football coming into this season. Right now, it's not there. Tristan Wirfs is probably the best left tackle in the game. And I like Graham Barton, but it is not the kind of offensive line that Buccaneers fans were hoping to have when the season started. So their offense kind of shredded. If we play this Buccaneers team with no starting running back in Bucky Irving, who's been really good for them, and no Mike Evans, future Hall of Famer Mike Evans, and missing both their starting right tackle and right guard, it's a completely different offense from what we thought we were dealing with before the season started. And of course, defensively, Jamel Dean, we already talked about him. Hassan Reddick, we already talked about him. So it's not a complete mess as long as these guys are able to play, but we're not going to know the full story until we get to maybe Wednesday will help shed some light on this. We know Khalid Jacansey's on IR, right? And he was somebody they were really counting on this season, so their defense has already taken a hit there. But it's not as bad on this side of the ball. They can manage a little bit better here. But I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This matchup is nothing like the matchup I thought we were going to get right now. Even if Bucky Irving plays, this is not a Buccaneers team that is anywhere near as dangerous offensively as anticipated before the season started. And we'll see how this develops as the week goes on, but right now, doesn't look great. So understand, these are not your off-season hype Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is your MASH unit. Hopefully they can just kind of keep it together for a little bit here until they get a couple players back. Buccaneers. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. That's what's going on. Wanted to go ahead and go over it real quick, and we'll see where things stand on Wednesday.